Yo, what's up, guys? This is Jason Henry, the Redhead Henry, and in today's video, I've got Numbers and Lords. These two guys helped me out big time with Goku Versus Z. They both played two different roles, so what's going on, guys? How's it going?
I'm doing fantastic. What about you, Lords?
I have been pretty good, especially with how well this video was received.
Yeah, man, I was not expecting it to get 100,000 views in less than a week. It's pretty amazing.
Especially given the whole history of the Evil Goku series.
I mean, it's crazy because it's so inconsistent of posts over like 11 years or 15 years or however long it's been, but like, it's you go like a year or two without nothing and then all of a sudden a new episode drops, so it's pretty crazy. So just so everybody knows, so Numbers, what was it? What was your title on this project and what did you help me with?
So I was the creative consultant for this project, and it's pretty much like being the script editor or supervisor, helping Red to have a bit of having someone to bounce back on in terms of ideas or certain aspects of the script, and as well as in case there's some aspects of the series he wasn't aware of, I would be there to help him out to be like, oh hey, does this thing exist in Dragon Ball? Does this form exist? And so on.
Hell yeah! And how about you, Lords?
I was the lead sprite director. Essentially, when Red had a few sprites that he needed help working on, he would come to a few of his sprite artist friends like myself, and we would set up designs, set up the colors and everything, and he would do the finishing touches and eventually add them to the program. I've add them to animation, and then from there just go along with the story. Did that make sense?
Oh, that made sense. Yeah, man. Like this, there's no way. I mean, the fact that I was already pulling everything together into one big ass project was already time consuming enough. So the fact that you guys and many others were helping me with different aspects of it, it just really goes to show, it was a team effort to get, this whole thing done. It was just 2.5 years of my life. Crazy, man. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Especially given the amount of like revisions, because it's not just let's just go start right now. It's like, no, you have to go through several revisions of like what to do at the beginning, at the end, what will even be within each shot and whatnot.
Oh my God, yeah. It was just such a long process with that. And obviously, because you were helping me with so many different variations of the script and ideas and things.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So like this opening shot here with Chi-Chi, it wasn't even the original opening shot. I had like two original opening shots. The one that I had originally worked on from 2013 or 14. And then I had another one that I started working on in 2020. But then I'm like, nope, that doesn't feel right. And we switched it to this one. But I'm curious though, what are your guys' thoughts on this whole like love story not being so black and white between evil Goku and Chi-Chi? The fact that she was kind of almost like the puppet master this whole time. They might have had like this alignment with wanting to take over the world, but I think she recognized that she couldn't really necessarily control him or get what she ultimately wanted. So she used like this perfume to make subtle suggestions to get what she wants. I'm curious what your guys' opinions are on that.
It definitely put. Oh, sorry, you go first.
No, that's okay. I was just gonna say that considering how Dragon Ball is like very like what would be the best way, like very nuanced when it comes to romance. Like they don't really prioritize it, which is understandable. Toriyama doesn't really know how to write romance into a story, but the fact that it's actually a pivotal, like aspect of Evil Goku's character that literally led like spiraled down to where he currently is. I think it was nice that it was you know, and like actually part of the story rather than just being like, oh, by the way, you know, Chi Chi exists and yeah, she's dead, and just move on with that.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought it needed something to not necessarily show, everything was happy, and romantic and all of that good stuff. I think because it's an opposite universe and obviously Chi Chi would be different, I think the fact that she had like her own goals and ambitions and to show that, like her using him in that regards, like others, I thought was would have been pretty cool to show that.
Mm-hmm.
Showed that a lot of evil Goku's choices weren't really always his own.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
And also, especially when you know, there's all a lot of those jokes, a lot of the memes with Goku being a bad dad and whatnot. So the fact that, you know, we have an actual Goku who's like, okay, you know, what if I do actually value the family more than say camaraderie? Well, then we get to see how, maybe in a very twisted way, we can still see how even so their relationship is surprisingly wholesome in a very
Twisted.
in a bizarre way.
Yeah, twisted
Yeah.
and demented way, yeah. Because I wanted to show something like that too with, when he was asking her to marry him. Like, yeah, I grabbed this ring off an old woman's burnt corpse. And he did the
Yeah.
typical anime, put the hand behind your head, close your eyes, big ass open mouth. Like, dude, this is typical like Dragon Ball anime shit, but it's all twisted and demented because it's an opposite universe.
Right.
Oh shit.
And I think I remember when this was first being aired, I remember being one of the ones to say, yep, that's romantically dark.
Yeah.
You don't get that too many times.
So obviously, you guys were at the premiere. What was it like in your guys, like, I'm assuming you guys were at your homes. What was it like for you guys at your house when you were watching this? Was it just like pure ecstasy, excitement? It's been so many years to finally fucking see this thing come together.
I was kind of glued to my chair,
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. Like, I didn't even have the urge to go to the bathroom until it was already over and we were in the Discord server.
Yeah.
Like, I was just so determined to see it through.
I was, you know, kind of dead out of excitement. You know, I had to revive myself back up. Just seeing it all go down, because oh man, I still like remember the day Goku Versus came out. Every like shot was just like ingrained to my mind. So just seeing how the actual like peak climax of the original idea coming, you know, full force, ultra high definition is just awesome.
It had that type of payoff that 2 years of work should have.
Yeah, and I mean, like for you, Lords, you had crafted all of these sprites over. I don't actually remember how long it was. I think it was maybe a year or so in. I was asking you for help. But I mean, you worked on Super Saiyan Gokumi. You did Meta Gokumi. You did Goku Black. Super Saiyan Mutated 4. What else did you do? You did Komei. Who else? You helped me out with so much, man. And then to finally, like, without having to tell anybody about it or show anybody, and then to finally see that payoff, what was that like?
It was so satisfying seeing everyone react to all this hard work that we put in. Like, not just you and me, but like everyone that's even submitted the background Gokus.
Yeah,
Just seeing
X-Fire.
everyone react to the small little details and everything, I felt so satisfied.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. There were a lot of, like, X-Fire helped me out with some sprites. I had some other individuals that did some sprites for me. And then there were, like, past submissions. Do you guys remember, like, from, I think it was 2013 or 14 when I originally announced this? I had, like, the whole submission thing, and people were sending me in sprites, so I went back to those sprites and used those.
Yeah, I remember that.
I think
I
that's
remember
good.
I was trying to make one for that, I think.
Did you submit it?
I just
No, I was never able to finish it. It was like a good guy Goku Black, like a white knight Goku Black.
Goku White. There are a couple. We just missed one. There was a Goku White that was just on screen a few seconds ago. But there were a few.
Yep.
yeah.
And then there's this fucking asshole.
Yeah, this guy. What's the deal with this Goku? It's like, hey, let me help you, and it's like,
Yeah,
don't.
I needed to bring.
I mean, I understand. Yeah, I understand that Goku needed to come back to life. It's just that this random Goku is like, yeah, let me help you by making you get weaker.
I know
unintentionally.
it was kind of a double-edged sword because obviously we know what happens to Goku in GT. Well, I mean, we have a somewhat understanding of what happens to him after Omega Shenron. Is he really alive or dead? Is he on some other kind of journey? Is he tethered to the Dragon Balls? Like, what exactly happened there? So I needed to figure out a way to remove his halo and put him kind of back in that placement of where he was at the end of GT, because he also didn't have his tail as well when he became an adult again. So I had to figure that. I'm like, you know what? I'll just put in this like mage Goku who like heals him and it removes his tail and his halo. He's alive again, and just call it done and dusted.
But was that Goku really a good guy for doing that? That's the question.
I guess
He got
that's up for
baptized.
debate. Yeah. Dude, that stream yesterday, it was Stride, like with the angelic Goku attack, the demon erase, the exorcism. I can't believe I didn't think of that. It was so perfect. I had such a good chuckle.
Yeah.
If I wasn't at work, I would have been laughing.
Oh yeah, it was funny. So what'd you guys think of this? Like these, I had to keep cutting back to Vegeta and like the Echo G because we've never actually really seen like the physical device or the building that contained Echo G. What did you guys think of this? Because I was kind of like, because I redid this scene a few times, and I don't know. I think it turned out okay, but I'm curious what your guys' thoughts are on the whole Echo G plot and cutting back to Vegeta and all of that.
It was a nice bit of world building that you don't really see from Dragon Ball and a lot of Dragon Ball fan projects as a whole.
Yeah, it's like very often when it comes to technology, it's like, oh, Goku uses a ship, or hey, here's a radar. You know, it's like pretty simple. Like, but you would be surprised that, without those technology, a lot of like issues would have been more problems for the cast. So it's cool that what was just like a little tiny portal in the second installment actually becomes, the forefront of, what's causing this event to spiral even more out of control. Especially when, we have to, it's a nice way to see the good versions of Vegeta and Piccolo, take responsibility, not to be like, oh, it's totally not our faults or, none of that. And especially when we compare them to like the Prime versions, like Vegeta would just be like, nah, don't worry, this ain't my problem, or hey, I don't care, this is not my issue. But then, we see more characterization of good Vegeta, realizing that, hey, we have to stop this, but I can't do this on my own. So it was definitely a nice inclusion.
Actually, now I remember what I was going to ask you, Num. So, as my creative consultant, there were many times when I would just DM you out of the blue, sometimes even late at night, because I'd have like an idea going in my head, and I'd be like, hey, like, what do you think of this? Like, does this make sense? I guess my question is with it is, how fed up were you with me constantly pinging you about all of that shit?
Well, I mean, I think it was good because, like, fans do love to have those details. Well, more so the ones who were like grew up with the series and just really love the very tiny details that impact the entire world building. So, especially when you tackle, the entire multiverse, you would hope that, these informations matters, and especially when people can be like, oh, is that one thing from that one filler episode, or hey, is that form, the false Super Saiyan? Is like people like to see that, hey, not just the anime or manga, but other concepts is being applied to this show, because that's the whole reason why people love AF all the time, because they can apply just the tiniest things and expand it upon more than what it was originally intended.
Mm.
Is that evil Goku going Ultra Instinct?
Oh my god. So
Yeah.
there was a I have to tell you guys this. I think it was a couple weeks ago. It was before GVZ came out, and I stumbled across this guy's YouTube channel, and he did a reaction video to what the hell was it? I think it was Evil Goku versus Goku Black, and I watched a bit of it. And you remember how right at the beginning when Goku Black charges Evil Goku and starts throwing all of those punches and Evil Goku is dodging them?
Right.
Yeah.
The reaction, he goes, "Oh my god, are we going to see Ultra Instinct? He's using Ultra Instinct." I'm like, what the hell? No.
God
Oh my
damn.
gosh.
Ultra Instinct has ruined everything in Dragon Ball. So now whenever you see a character dodging, it's like, oh my god, he's using Ultra Instinct. And I think in the premiere for GVZ, I'll take somewhat of the blame for it. Like when Evil Goku comes out of his little dream sequence or whatever, Black rushes him again and starts throwing all those punches, and he's dodging them again. And I think a few people in the chat, I'd have to go back and look, were like, oh my god, Ultra Instinct.
It was so fucking funny.
Is that Ultra Instinct in base? Oh my gosh.
Oh my god.
But now that we're getting to some of the major fights, I do have to ask a question that I know not a lot of people would ask, but when it comes to some of the classic in-between frames for the JOS style, did you not use any of those when animating because they were harder to animate with, or because it would look better without them?
Yeah.
Swipes and everything.
That's an excellent question. I'm glad you asked that. I've talked about it before from years ago, but I think with JUS, those transitional poses that you're talking about, like if they're punching and then you see the little dashes and the slashes from their hands or something. I don't like using those because I can easily manipulate the sprite in After Effects and add my own motion blur to it, which makes it look a little better. Sometimes I will do that, sometimes I won't. For the most part, I try to avoid using those transitional sprites. Not to mention, too, if you're using it as an animated GIF, it might look okay, or, depending on the style. I guess it's really just preference, but, you're taking up, let's say you have a 6-pose punch, right? So it's 6 poses of a punch. Your beginning pose, and then your transitional poses, and then your finishing, extended arm. So those in-between transitional poses are just going to take up frames inside of the animation. So if I want a punch to look really, really, really fast, those frames need to be taken out anyway, and then I would just cut them or add the motion blur or whatever. So hopefully that answers your question with that, Lords. It's a little bit technical, kind of, but...
Oh no, I get it, because I agree. And besides, the transitional poses in JUS don't really look that good anyway. Fight me.
No, you're right. To be honest, JUS back in the day, if you go back and watch any animation really that uses the older JUS sprites, they don't look that good. They're really lanky and outdated. But I feel like there's been such an improvement in the spriting community with those who sprite JUS, whether that's you, Lords, or myself. I feel like there's been such an improvement where now they look really good. They're obviously not the extreme Budoten ones or whatever those ones are called that are 3 times the size and have so much detail put into them. But I feel like JUS has come a long way over the 10 plus years that they've been around. And I think they look good
Definitely.
now. Yeah, I think they look really good.
Like, and that's the thing with JOS sprites, you can add a lot of detail through just the shading. You don't need like even Super Evil Goku's arms right there, how you're able to see the bicep.
Yeah. It's just little details, you know. You're working with pixels, so sometimes that's hard because you might have to alter the proportions of the sprite, but I think they work. I think JUS is really cool now. Like before, it was really kind of lanky.
Yep. Like looking back at some of my first attempts at editing JUS, I'm like, I can't believe how bad this looks.
Yeah, yeah. It's.
I personally think you should have gone with the Taiketsu sprites. I think that was a gold mine.
Oh my god. Hold on, isn't Taiketsu that one Game Boy Advance game where they're like 3D models, but like they look like claymation?
Yeah.
Like Trunks has like tinfoil pants.
Yeah, you should have gone with that, Red.
I remember that game. Fuck. I should have put a sprite of those guys in the background with this. As a matter of fact, I don't think I told anybody this, but what I was going to do, I was going to reach out to like Devil Artemis or somebody like that and just be like, hey, I need a 3D model of Goku doing like a Kamehameha or a running pose or something that I can throw into the background just to have some variety. But I ultimately never got around to doing it. I just wanted to show because, you know, we're seeing different sprite styles. We're seeing stick figures. To throw in like a 3D model like that would have been like a little bit more icing on the cake, I think.
Yeah, that would have been pretty cool. And
even if it was
to just
a
like
brief cameo.
Maybe you should have added a claymation Goku in the background.
that would have given me like PTSD from watching Gumby.
And his powers are like what's that guy from Batman? The clay guy?
Clayface.
Clayface, yeah.
Or just have the Goku from Rooster Teeth just bring out his Glock and then just shoot down every Goku.
Jesus.
Oh my gosh.
So hey, here's the Super Saiyan Gokumi sprite that you did, Lords.
I am so proud of how it looks in motion, and I've only done one of those sprites.
Yeah, I mean, I gave you... So I didn't create the Gokumi sprites. I hired someone for that from like years ago, but I had the base sprites, and then I gave them to you, and we're like, hey man, I need Super Saiyan hair for this, and you can't tell anybody because it's a secret. And you're like, okay. But you did come up with some crazy concepts, too, for what her Super Saiyan Blue and God would look like in Super Saiyan 2.
Those were fun.
Yeah.
It's always fun to, like, make hypothetical forms. Maybe that's why so many people do it, but...
I think you're right on that. That's why every time there's a new form that comes out in the fandom, the entire community bastardizes it and gives it to every single Saiyan that exists, whether they're canon or not. It's like a rush to see who can do it first.
Or who could do it better.
Right.
So does that mean Goku Versus 2 confirmed?
No. Goku Versus
Super Saiyan God Gokumi?
God damn it.
Lords, with those sprites you were doing, like Super Saiyan 2 and stuff, I'm like, God, it would look so cool to add, like, if she got Super Saiyan 2 and 3 and stuff, I'm like, just... No, because this isn't Dragon Ball Super, where it's like fucking Kefla, where she can just get all the forms easily by fighting Goku. No, I think it makes more sense for her to just get Super Saiyan 1 and then go from there.
Yep. And, like, I know the moment already passed, but I like the small detail that when Goku the Hedgehog talks, like, his mouth is on an angle.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's staying in true with... Every time you see Sonic in like an anime or something, his mouth is always like half like cocked off to the side, like it's up by his cheek.
That was such a cute detail.
Yeah, man, I had to have that in there. I'm a huge Sonic fan, but my God, I gotta stay away from a lot of that.
I don't blame you.
Yeah, just one guy will be asking, so when is Goku the Hedgehog gonna have Super Saiyan 6?
Yeah.
When is he getting it, Red?
I don't think it makes sense for him to because he's not a Saiyan, but I don't know. Things are so weird in his universe with the dragon emeralds and Tails as Krillin and fuck. It's weird. I don't know. Like expanding on that kind of lore would be complicated. It would be a
I
process.
hate to interrupt, but that back sprite for Evil Goku is very clean.
So I think
He
you
is
know this,
jacked.
Lords, but the JUS, like these front poses, those front poses didn't exist in the original like sheets that came out from the game. So the back poses, the front poses. So like myself and others worked on, like trying to properly get a front pose and back pose. But when you actually look at the sprite, you'll notice the alignment of it is actually shifted by 1 pixel. I think it looks fine, but if you were to widen it by 1 pixel, it just looks like it looks too weird, like their proportions look off. So the proportions are perfect, but the alignment of the pixels is just not right, because when you like look at his chest, you'll see that like that line that splits where his pecs are and his abs and whatnot is either shifted over to the left or shifted over to the right. So one side actually looks like bigger than the other. I don't really think it matters all that much, because if you were to expand it, they kind of look like a blimp and the proportions are all off.
It would look a little too chunky.
Exactly. And then if you go too thin, then he just looks like a skeleton.
Yeah, that's the curse with trying to edit sprite work, because symmetry.
Uh-oh. We lost him.
What
Lords?
happened?
Oh, you cut out there.
Oh, sorry about that. Well, symmetry is always going to, for lack of a better term, make you their bitch.
Pretty much.
Like, especially with sprite work, with the LSW sprites, and especially JUS, because like you said, nobody in that game had a front-facing sprite.
Yeah. Actually, I gotta ask you something, Nums. So, you saw this scene, actually, like, months and months ago. Actually, it was probably a year ago I showed you this scene. You knew, obviously, and you knew too, Lord, so I guess I'll ask both of you guys this. You knew, like, Lords, you knew bits and pieces, but obviously with you guys helping me on this, and I did need your guys' help, as well as others, but, did it take away from the fact, did it kind of ruin the experience of knowing that you knew what was coming because you worked on it?
I don't think so, because other than the Savage Goku fight, I didn't know when anything took place, so
Right.
I was just wondering where it was all going to be.
So that's kind of the difference between the two of you, because you obviously worked on the sprites, so you knew which characters were coming and what forms they would have. But like for numbers, I mean, he saw some sprites, but he knew everything as far as what stories were being implemented and then which ones were being taken out. So I'm curious, Nums, if that like ruined it for you or not.
Surprisingly, it felt more impactful knowing the fact that I knew more in advance and then seeing it all come together, because obviously I knew that more Gokus were going to appear, but I didn't know any specifics. But the fact that I get to, actually experience like, oh, hey, I see Among Us Goku, I see Kirby Goku. That was still like a nice, little treat for any, fans that's watched it since the very beginning. And then even when I did knew like the important plot beats, I still thought it was nice to see it in its full glory as to what was gonna still be presented, and the fact that it did play out as it did, and we get to see how it does connect to everything else. I didn't feel like it really made me feel like, oh, I knew that was coming, or it could have been better, or any of that.
Because there were some things too. I think the biggest thing I kept from not just everybody, to avoid spoilers, but from you guys too, was Goku the Hedgehog. I didn't show him in any previews. I didn't show him in, the trailers. He was kind of masked out by Renegade Goku, but I think that came to a pleasant surprise to everybody, me keeping him hidden.
I cannot tell you how hard I was laughing at that little bastard.
Yeah, I think he got kind of mixed reception. I feel like most people at first when he appeared hated him, but then afterwards, as the movie progressed, they came to love him.
Right. I mean, then again, that's kind of Sonic in general.
Oh yeah.
I personally felt like it works because, to be fair, a lot, or not a lot, but quite a few aspects of Sonic were maybe borrowing a bit from Dragon Ball. I mean, the developers literally wrote notes to be like, "Hey, Silver the Hedgehog, yeah, just base it him on future Trunks." So they're clearly know what they're doing when it
Yeah.
comes to that. But also because, especially since I was also looking into the actual like presentation of Japanese Sonic, he is very much like a shonen-esque protagonist. So seeing him as a Goku only seems more fitting, and but still to have implement a bit of the English adaptations onto his character just makes him more accurate in a grand scheme of things. And especially when you already brought up how, like, you know, you include other things that are not just based on the English versions, like, you know, the Ocean dub with the Kaioken and whatnot. You always include everything else in general. So I think that Goku the Hedgehog just works, honestly.
Yeah, I need it because obviously he has elements of Sonic in him, right? But he isn't Sonic, he's Goku, so it's kind of like a balancing act, but he mostly like his personality mostly comes from the fact that I needed to have a character that was a comic relief and was so outlandish from the main group that it would spark conflict. So obviously, when you take a character like Evil Goku and you put him next to a character that is like Goku the Hedgehog, you're going to get some tension there. Like, you better shut the hell up or I'm going to do something where it's like, well, you can't catch me, so I'd like to see you try. Like, fuck.
Yeah.
So I thought that was fun to have those kind of moments in there like that.
And that's also the other thing is that I keep forgetting that Prime Goku is based off GT Goku, and when you see him return as a kid, he is very like relaxed. He returns to a more childish nature like he was at the beginning of the series. So the fact we see Prime Goku in his literal end of series prime meeting a more like previous arc, more crazy, more energetic version of himself, still bouncing back and forth, only just makes his interactions with Prime Goku more appealing.
Yeah, and you know, I had thought about it's funny because now, you know, it's been just over a week since the premiere, but I thought about this for, I don't know, a couple days ago. Like, what I should have done, I think it would have been, I don't know if it would have been fan service, but I felt like after watching it now so many times and reading comments and whatever, I feel like we should have had a scene very quickly of when you have Goku Prime, who is now, you know, post GT, and he's much more, you know, mature, like he's not as naive as he once was. Having him then encounter just a normal super variant of himself who's always like, you know, I don't know how they would meet or whatever, but the interaction would essentially be, oh my god, I can't believe I'm here. There's so many Gokus. I can't wait to get stronger. And like, I'm just so excited. I just can't wait to go. And then you see Goku Prime just be like, was I really that naive? Like, was I really like that? And then, you know, you just see the super version like fly off and, you know, he's all like excited. And Goku Prime's a little bit more, you know, he's more mature, more reserved, I guess you could say. Like, he still gets excited for the fight, but, you know, he's much older now. He's more seasoned and experienced. Something like that would have been nice.
Yeah.
I think that's actually mainly. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I was only just gonna add that there was also like a very tiny little like special game, like a phone game of Dragon Ball where Goku meets his kid self, and the first thing he does when he went back to the past is he like pats his kid self in the head like a freaking dog. Yeah, he treats his past self like a dog. So it's like, yeah, it's only fitting. It's only fitting that Goku would also treat other versions of himself like any other person.
Yeah.
Very childish.
I remember that too. He like, he's there with Trunks and Gohan, and yeah, he goes over them. And he's like patting him on the back, and the little kid Goku's like, "What the hell's going on here? Like, are you me?" And then they're just gone, and I liked too what they did with that. How Goku was essentially in the art style of the Cell Saga, and then the little kid Goku was in the style of Dragon Ball. That was a really nice touch with that.
Yeah, that was good. I remember what that was from. I think that's it from a Playdia game
I don't.
where it was like some kind of Dragon Ball quiz where like you had to determine what attack Master Roshi used to destroy the moon, and one of the choices was.
Uh-oh, we lost Lords.
Again?
Yeah, you said one of the choices was, and then we lost you.
One of the choices was Special Beam Cannon. Another one was like the Wolf Fang Fist or something.
I felt your power. Out of everyone else here so far, you're undoubtedly the strongest. Next to me, of course. You sought me out? What is this power you hold? It's called Ultra Instinct. Ultra Instinct? That's impossible! How could you achieve such a power? I thought only gods of destruction could possess such an ability.
But now, here's another question that I know a ton of people are going to ask and still ask. The aura
Oh, for this
that
one?
you ended up using.
Or which one? Because there's like 100.
Well, I guess for the sake of example, we could go with LordZ, Super Saiyan 4, and Ultra Instinct.
Yeah, for these two. So Ultra Instinct is just the Saber plugin effect, and I've seen others try to recreate the Ultra Instinct. Some of them looked good, others not so much. But I feel like the biggest thing with the Ultra Instinct aura is that there are not only multiple colors to it, but there's like, it's almost like multiple layers. You have the purple particles, then you have like this more defined or more refined white particles, and then you have these colors of essentially white, purple, like violet, blue, and I can't remember what other colors. I think that those were the primary ones. But it's a very subtle, because it just outlines him. It just outlines the sprite. But with this in particular one, it was very difficult because I had to essentially compile a miniature sprite sheet of 2 poses that already had the effect applied to it. Because the effect was so big for After Effects, trying to animate with it was very difficult. So I had to pre-compose it and render it out as a separate effect. That's why his mouth actually looks not as crisp as the rest of the sprite when he has his aura. And then the aura for Goku Black here, it was a... How do I describe it? It was an already composite aura effect. And what I did was I essentially manipulated it by trying to replicate what was done in the anime, because when you look at the Super Saiyan Rose aura, it has like so many aspects to it. It has the particles, then the fill of the aura has like this moving background, but then the background has like these different hues and colors and shades to it. And then you have the border, like the perimeter of the aura has like an outline, but the outline like blends into the aura. Then it has a glow. So it's like there's all these like little components that go into it. So I did my best to try and replicate it and make it look unique, but I think it turned out all right in the end.
I'd say it did, especially considering how many people want the know-how on it.
I like those mouth drop expressions. Those always get me.
Oh my god, this shot here with the galaxy. I found like a tutorial and it just, God, it took me so long to render that.
And for a few seconds, no less. It's always
right.
It always be like that.
Well, and the beauty of it too was that, okay, I needed to have that shot later of Echo G destroying like an entire universe. So thankfully, I was like, oh, perfect. I can just reuse that galaxy effect that I used, change the colors, reposition it, and then like throw a whole bunch of them in a scene. But then that whole shot was took forever to render.
I remember in the Discord, you were always talking about the different times you had to render it just to keep everything together.
Yeah, so actually, I don't think I talked about this in the commentary. I'll just quickly touch on it. So, pretty much every animation that you've seen, minus Goku versus Z, was all rendered completely out of After Effects. So, when I was about halfway through working on Goku versus Z, I decided, okay, I need to. Well, Goku versus Z was split up into multiple different projects, right? And I've done that in previous animations. So what you have to do is you then have to make essentially a master file and then import in all of the miniature little scenes and project files to create a master file with the master final render, right? And that's what I had done previously for some animations. But with Goku versus Z, I got about halfway done with it. You know, I had about 45 minutes done. And I'm like, you know what? I need to render everything out and see how it looks. So I'm starting to import in all of these scenes. And eventually it got to the point where I was about 3 gigs. The master file was 3 gigs in file size, and it crashed. I'm like, oh no, this is not good. So I tried it again, and then I did some research. I couldn't actually find a definitive answer, but just based on my deduction, After Effects has a limit of like 3 gigs for a file size. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but I could not import in more than 3 gigs worth of files into that master file. So that's actually when I made the decision, okay, I'm going to have to render these files out and then import them into Premiere. But I had already been animating Goku versus Z at 1080p at that point. And the fact that I have to render them from After Effects and then put them into Premiere and then render the whole thing out from Premiere means loss of quality. So that's when I made the decision, okay, I can just do this whole thing at 4K. I can upscale everything to 4K. There's an easy plug-in for that. And then when I export out in 4K and then put it in Premiere and then export from 4K from there, there'll be enough high quality in the 4K where it still looks good. Because the more that you render from different applications or from different programs and whatnot, you're going to have a loss of quality there. So that's kind of a little mini tangent with that, but yeah, I was so worried when that happened originally when I was testing it. Like, what the hell am I going to do? I still have like half this story that needs to be done and it's not working. Fuck.
Yeah, honestly, I think to those true Evil Goku fans out there, they should watch it at 144p at half the speed and then just be like, yeah, this is amazing. Cherish every single sprite movement.
Like, comment, and subscribe if you agree.
Well, and the thing is too is that the first Goku versus Evil Goku, when that came out, like the new YouTube had literally, I think it was like within just a couple months, they had just switched from the 4:3 aspect ratio to the 16:9 aspect ratio. So like they went from the little TV box to the now horizontal aspect ratio with videos. So thankfully I had done the original Goku versus Evil Goku in that 16:9 aspect ratio, but yeah, it's kind of a testament too with this series being, had gone on for as long as it had. You see at the same time you see kind of all the improvements on YouTube. They came out with, premieres came out, they came out with live streaming, the live stream chat, donations, monetization, like all of these things that were not present when the series first started that now everyone just takes for granted, and that's what YouTube is now.
Well, yeah, I don't really have much to add to that, but what I can say is when the premieres did go live for all the, like, Goku Versus stuff, they had such a massive turnout because not only does everyone get to experience it day one, but they get to make sure their comments are read by more than just one person.
Yeah, you know, it kind of gives you that like camaraderie, so in a sense, like you're all experiencing it at the same time. I'm glad actually that YouTube implemented that. That's probably the best feature they implemented was the premiere feature, and the fact that they have that little live chat box right on the right of the video. Oh my god, this fucking shot.
Helps
This shot
connect
is-
that was a callback. That
So
that great ape Goku was a callback.
So, well, yes, that's true. There were a lot of there were callbacks in the whole fucking animation, but there are still characters. I'm not going to say which characters, but there are still characters that you guys I have not seen anybody get or seen yet. I can't say any more because I don't want to ruin it, but there are characters in this that, as far as I know, I have not seen people take screenshots or mention in the comments that they saw X character, and there's a lot of them. I'm a little bit surprised too, because I see a lot of comments about this character wasn't in this, and if you pause it at the right moment, you'll actually see that character.
True. I mean,
Well, fuck.
in the server for like 3 days straight, we had so many people going like, "Oh, I saw that Goku."
Yeah, well, so I'll just say it. Zeno Goku is in this, but he's only in like one shot, and you'd have to find him. But originally, Zeno Goku, there was going to be like a B or C story with Zeno Goku, and I remember telling that to Numbers. It was early on, and the whole premise of it was essentially Zeno Goku and Capsule Corp Goku are called to the Time Nest. And they're like, you know, you have the old Kai there, and he's like, oh, there's a disturbance going on. You guys need to go. So they end up going, but, you know, they fight Goku Black. It makes Black stronger, and they're no match against him. Now, obviously, GVZ would have been a lot longer, but it just didn't make sense. And then Nums even called out, like, do you even know how strong Zeno Goku is? Like, it would make no sense for him to be there. So it's like, at that point, with, you know, Goku versus Z having all of these A, B, and C stories and all of these other Gokus, it just didn't make sense to have that storyline in there. But I'm curious, Lords, what you thought about that. I don't know if you remember it, me coming to you with that.
I think I remember you coming
Or no, sorry,
to
not
me
Lords,
about
Nums.
that.
Sorry, it was Nums.
Well, real quick, we saw the exorcism of Demon Goku.
Oh yeah, the exorcism attack.
Yeah, so to
Power of
anyone,
Toriyama.
right. Yeah, the power Toriyama compels you. Yeah. So to anyone out there, if you are angry that Zeno Goku didn't make a major role, you can blame that on me. But the main reason is just because, you know, we do care about, you know, accuracy and consistency of scaling, because I mean Dragon Ball Z was all about, well, not a main importance is that, you know, the pair scaling does matter, because people don't like that, hey, random background character from that one frame of that one episode comes in and just bullies perfect cell, right? So we want to emphasize that, hey, characters do have a sense of scale. And so when I was getting into, you know, hero scaling and just trying to find out how strong they are, I found that, oh yeah, they're way too strong for this story. And plus, to be fair, especially when way back since Evil Goku started, there was no such thing as heroes or became as impactful. It didn't even have a story. It was just a bunch of characters, you know, meshed together to have this, you know, arcade game and whatnot. So the fact that, you know, years later they will create a Zeno Goku that is too strong even for the main story, and then try to somehow fit him into the story would just kind of, it would kind of break any tension or suspense. It would just be like, oh, why didn't this Zeno Goku just slap him in the face and then just the end?
his head flies off.
Yeah, why didn't he baptize Goku Black and then just call it a day? I'm just saying, you know.
That
So
exorcism attack.
yeah, so that's why it's like, for the sake of not over, because if we did add him in, we would have make Goku Black jump way too high, way too quickly, and we would have just been like, what? How does that work? So that's why we just said,
Yeah.
Nah.
I think
Let's just
ultimately
remove
it was
him.
a good idea because not even from a power level aspect, just from a story aspect. I mean, back then I didn't know this thing was going to be 2 hours, but let's just say for the sake of argument, he was included, and we did have that, that BC story with him. I mean, at that point, GVZ would be what, 2 hours, 15 minutes, 2 hours, 30 minutes, and it would throw a wrench. Like as I've said many times, Super by itself, not even including heroes, already throws a wrench into the story because one, I had been doing this whole series before Super existed, and the series has already dealt with the multiverse and all of these different Gokus. So now you're taking Super that has these characters that are just so much more ridiculously powerful than what we had already seen before, and injecting them into this series. So I think I had to try and do it in a way that made sense. I think it makes sense. You guys will have to let me know if it does, but I think ultimately you're right, Nums. It was a good thing we didn't add him in there because it would just be fan service. It would have made the thing too much longer, and it would have been too much. I think. So
Plus with the
I'm just
especially with the
glad. No, go
especially with
ahead.
the convolution of the multiverse, it would have been even more convoluted for fans to then have the focus to be on the timeless, to be like, wait a minute, there's the multiverse, there's these random Gokus, there's the Echo G, and now there's the timeless. It's like, wait, wait a minute, where did this come from? It's like we
Yeah.
didn't want to over make it too complex just for this one particular moment, especially when they were never referenced at all
And
from the
I
rest
think
of the
the
series.
payoff too was better with Savage Goku because that character who comes in to fight Black, like it could have been Zeno Goku, it could have been whoever, it could have been Capsule Corp Goku or the Grand Zeno Goku or God of Destruction Goku. So it's like better just to hide those characters in the background as little cameos. And then the payoff was Savage Goku, having not seen him for over a decade. I think was like you guys saw the chat, like everybody in the fucking chat erupted as soon as he popped on screen. Like it was just constant swarm of excitement. And that payoff I think was a lot better than say having Zeno Goku come down from the sky and it's like, "Oh, okay, well, it's over now."
Nice little moments with Goku and Chi Chi with the ring.
Yeah, I had a lot of butt shots in this. There were a lot of butt
touch
shots with
touch grass.
touch grass. Touch grass. There were a lot of well, I mean, just in cinema anyway. There's butt shots, but there are butt shots. You've got evil Goku butt shots, Goku Me, Chi Chi, Piccolo. Different camera angles and perspectives. But I think that's kind of a testament to where I started out in terms of my skill level animating back in 2009 to essentially now I can pretty much do anything. I was very limited with sprites, limited with camera angles and all that stuff. But the fact now that I can build out an entire scene essentially in a 3D environment using sprites and rotate the camera around and get really any angle I want is pretty fucking impressive. I think that over the last 15 years, I've gone from just standard side to side, one static camera, to now having an entire fully 3D environment with any angle I want is really fucking cool.
I'd say it is.
Because the whole thing plays out as you're watching it, literally like you're watching an episode. That's the feeling I go for. I feel like a lot of animators or sprite animators today, they focus too much on the fight and combos, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's just the style that they do. But I think my style has evolved to the point where I can essentially make this seem as though you're watching an entire movie or an entire episode. You have those fights, you have those epic moments, you have tension and drama and storytelling and all of those things. So that's what I try to focus on is all of that stuff.
That's another butt shot right there.
Lots of butt shots.
You know someone's going to make a butt shot tier list, and we all know who it's going to be.
Oh my god.
Oh gosh. Oh, now I remember what I was gonna say. So we were bringing about or talking about the universe, I should have considered that before, but you should have somehow I don't care how forced it was. You should have had like some random, like a King Kai Goku, be like, "Oh, these are Goku from other universes." Like just have that call back from the third
Oh my
installment. That
god,
would have been
man.
so
My
hilarious.
King Kai voice, it sounded so much like a mix between Kermit the Frog and like Yoda. It was
Yeah.
so bad.
That would have been so hilarious. That's just a nice, funny callback from those
Yeah.
moments.
God, that was terrible. Dude, I really liked these moments between Goku and Evil Goku. It's something like we had not like the thing I like the most is that when I animate, I like doing things I haven't done before. So for example, like with the Majin Buu animation, I'd never done like a romantic or like a kiss scene or anything like that. So like that was something that was new. With Evil Goku versus Goku Black, I was building out environments completely in 3D. That was new. So things like this now, like in the series, seeing like Goku and Evil Goku taking a break from their conflict and having like these moments where they're talking to each other. I really, really enjoyed doing that and seeing like the differences between the two, like their mindset or, their outlook on life and their personality really shines through and how different they really are.
And that definitely comes to a full circle later on in the animation.
Oh, yeah, 100%. We'll talk about that
All
later.
leading up to a massive payoff.
Yeah.
Rip Goku appearing. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I'm surprised there's no be a man Goku. Just have
He's got a cigar in his mouth.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't know. You guys remember? There was a point at one point when I was going back and looking at sprites and stuff, and I'm like, oh, maybe I should try giving Evil Goku a beard. Like some time has passed. Maybe he's got that little rugged look. I posted some examples of it, but I just couldn't get that stubble look to look quite right on his face with the pixels. It just looked kind of off and kind of funny. But with the cigar, I thought about that too. Like maybe he's got like an ashtray with a cigar on his table there next to all those beer cans or something.
Next to all the heat taps.
Heat tap and beer. He's got them mixers.
Who says tough guys can't like mixed drinks?
Ah.
He mixes heat tap with more heat tap.
Oh, here comes the big butt shot. The double butt shot. I'm glad I brought her back because I felt like I killed her off too early. Like, yeah, she just survives and it's fine. She'll come back as Super Saiyan.
They always come back.
God, I love this sprite that you did, LordZ, for Mecca Goku. I mean, I did, like, the base sprite for it. I did, like, 6 or 7 variants. Did I send you the different variants?
Yes, you did. And I remember you asked me which one I preferred.
Yeah. And wasn't it this one? It had to have been.
Yeah, it was that one. And I just add, like, the 4-star Dragon Ball on the back of her head.
Yeah, you did, like, such a phenomenal job creating the rest of the poses. She's my favorite design because she's got, like, that ninja kind of a look to her, like, from Mortal Kombat Frost. She kind of looks like that, and she's got, like, that futuristic cyberpunk kind of look to her. Really like that.
And, of course, it's also a reference to our boy Cooler.
Oh, for sure. Of course, we don't talk about Mecca Cooler. We don't talk about that movie.
Yeah.
Only the 5th movie. Is it the 5th movie? I think it is, yeah.
Gonna be honest, when it came to Dragon Ball movies and specials, I've lost track easier than I should have.
Yeah, because Tree of Might was 3, and then Lord Slug was 4, so Cooler, I believe, was after Lord Slug.
Yep.
Goku
I know
was
at
so
least
eager
that
to
one.
get in there, but he's like, no, if you go in there, you're pretty much done.
Like hold my heat tap real quick. I got this.
I can never get Kaioken colors right. when it
Actually,
comes
I
to
agree.
just writing.
Yeah, I agree with you because in some instances it's got like a pink hue to it, but then in other instances it's like red. I, you're absolutely right because I remember messing around with his Kaioken colors, like no, that looks too pink. This looks too bright red. It's got to have like these kind of different clash of pink and red like hues to it.
Like, it looks so much better when animating instead of just spriting it, because you could just add the overlay yourself, but you still have to get that good mix.
Right. And I think the fact when it's animated, it's got that movement to it, so you're seeing those colors kind of flicker and move around, so that's what makes it really gives off that illusion that it's like the anime.
Yep.
This was a callback to Cooler, him going through the Kamehameha.
Even nowadays, you don't see too many characters do that, and there are plenty of characters that are so powerful they could no-sell anything.
Take a good look at him. For what I'm about to do to this Goku will happen to each and every one of you.
I like how even while Goku Black is talking, you can see the portals in the background, bringing more in.
Right.
Will slaughter all of you and become the most powerful Goku in existence.
This is one of my favorite sequences, is him getting ready to go with that music. Everything matched up perfectly.
Just have Smash Brothers Evil Goku joins the battle.
Yeah, the little sequence with the title.
Yeah.
Fun fact about Super Smash Flash that actually has Goku in it. You know they're doing an official Smash Brothers clone?
Uh-oh, we lost you,
gosh.
Lords.
Again, god damn it. Well, we'll get back to what I was saying later. First, the best callback in the entire episode.
Oh, hit his entrance. I think I mentioned it to Nums.
Portals have stopped opening.
Yeah, because, we saw him go through that portal in the first one. And I'm like, well, he's going to be going through a portal again. I might as well do a quick little callback here. So you have the same music, the same camera position, and the same sprite pose. And I'm actually surprised there were so many of you guys that caught that. I didn't think there would be that many. But a lot of you guys caught it.
I just can't help but comparing it to the Doctor Who opening animation, the opening theme when he going through the green portal. It's just so freaking cool. Yeah, it just looks so freaking cool. The animation of him going through it, getting into the battlefield.
Yeah, because I wanted it to feel like a wormhole kind of effect. Like, you see it in like Avengers when Thanos steps through. It's like it's literally just a hole, and he like kind of steps through. At least isn't that how it was? I can't remember. It's
Yeah,
like a puffy
I think
smoke
that's how it
thing.
was.
Yeah, I don't think
Yeah.
he was traveling through like a wormhole or something. I wanted to show like he's going through some kind of like space-time wormhole kind of effect.
Equals your death. So why
It worked.
would you willingly choose this? If you have to ask, then you'd never
About to drop some Saiyans, some monkeys.
Actually quite like the evolution of Mecca Goku has the most, like, obviously, like, Gokumi, she gets battle damage and she has Super Saiyan, but Mecca Goku, like, he starts out, he has his, default, then he goes Super Saiyan, then he loses his arm, then you have him with his newly regrown arm and without his face mask, because obviously he had to pop a sensu bean to regrow his arm, and then you had the Super Saiyan version of that, so he had quite a little evolution with his sprites.
I wonder if Bulma will make him another arm, but then again, it's up for interpretation.
Yeah, like what happens afterwards, who knows? Maybe he goes back and they use the Dragon Balls to get rid of all those, components or cybernetic enhancements that were added to him.
Sorry I'm late. I had some things
He'll just ask,
besides. I'd seen
he just ask George Lucas for a remastered arm, and then he'll be ready to go.
THX. I gotta have the big
Yeah.
THX logo, like, right across the shoulder.
Yeah.
can help you fight it.
Shenron, can you give me the Darth Vader treatment?
I'll have to make
Ugh.
sure I destroy those
Darth Vader Goku.
What, was that a joke? Perhaps. That was such a terrible joke.
It was a fun, humbling moment with these two.
Goku, it's time to stand and face me.
I like the
Yes.
dynamic between Goku Prime and Evil Goku in this series.
Mm-hmm.
Reminds me of someone I know.
Especially when we do have like a comparison of how, say, even though it's not the Goku, it's still Goku Black interacting with another Goku. So the fact that we get to see what could have been had it been like a quote unquote Kakarot or just an actual evil Goku, still able to get along with an alternate version of himself to some extent.
Yeah, and obviously, Nums, we talked about it at great lengths, but the whole thing with that is obviously he had been with Goku for like such a long time, fighting him, taking these breaks, having these conversations. So I think ultimately time alone and time with Goku just slowly chipped away at his exterior, exposing this nerve that he has to confront in a sense. And after realizing like, hey, I got everything I wanted, but it was nothing of any real value. And I'm ultimately left with nothing after, everything that has transpired in my life up till this point. So I think that would it would spark a lot of boredom, depression, self-reflection. So I think he understands
Right.
that, and obviously that's what came to be shown. But I think that's it just really shows how much he's grown as a character.
Mm-hmm. And even for the fans who are just like, we do still want to see, the evil Goku. I think, which actually coincides with what we're about to see, is the quote unquote peak of Goku's evilness. Just put like outward, like the actual manifestation of Goku's pure evilness when fighting Goku Black. I think that was all. That was just straight up an awesome idea. Just having him go into his demon-esque form.
Yeah, I ruined that for you, Nums. I'm sorry, because I had made a mental note while I was working with you, not to reveal the demon form to you. But I had a slip of the tongue. It was like a couple months ago, and I'm like, I told you about Evil Goku's new form, right? And you were like, kind of caught off guard, and I can't remember what you said. You said something along the lines of, "Oh, you mean his spirit bomb absorption or whatever?" And I go, "No, his demon form or something." And you go, "What?" I'm like, "Oh, wait, that's right. I wasn't supposed to tell him. Fuck." Oh man, but I'm glad in a sense I kind of did, because you helped me a little bit with some of his design. One of the very last things I did in this animation was I was looking at it when it was done, and I was looking at the fight between Super Saiyan 4 or Demon Form Super Saiyan 4 Evil Goku and then Super Saiyan 4 Rose Goku Black when they were fighting, and I'm looking at it and I'm like, well, now wait a minute. When he's in his base form, like we're seeing right here, his hair gets all spiky, and then obviously when he goes Super Saiyan, it's already spiky. And I'm looking at his Super Saiyan 4 form, and I'm like, it would be awesome if his hair, instead of it being all frumpy and how it usually is, if his Super Saiyan 4 demon form, his hair was spiked up. So I remember asking you about that, and you said, yeah, I think that, that would work. So I went back, and this was like a week before the premiere. I went back and like quickly changed those sprites. Luckily, it was a quick change, and then I had to re-render everything, but I think it works.
Yeah, and especially it's a nice like tribute to just the concept of Evil Goku in general, because not giving him every form that exists out there, we give him his own form. Which, I mean, to be fair, even in the original series, there's very little concepts that rely on, say, like the demon realm. Like there's Majin Buu, there's Babidi, there's like references to like the Boro as the king, but there's never actual like, they only consider like the demons as like a race of people, but then that's just never go anything with that. So the fact that, hey, let me actually use Evil Goku's unknown history to give him a form that's unique, and it's like, yeah, that's freaking cool.
Yeah, Because obviously I knew while I was working on this animation that I wanted to go back and tell his origin story. I mean, I've tried like 2 times now to tell it. So now that GVZ is done and the story is complete, I can go back and now officially work on his, origin story. And there is, like you said, there's just so much missed opportunity with the demon realm. And I think the fact that, as he's alluded to here, that he spent a year in the demon realm in his past and obviously knows about Malrup juice and whatnot, incorporating that into this last episode, and then now going back in time and telling the origin story about, all of his early adventures, and then showing how he got to the demon realm and learned of Malrup juice, was a good idea. Because obviously, I needed him to have a new form, but I'm thinking about it. I'm like, I don't want any forms from Super, because I have my reasons, because I don't like Super and it wouldn't make sense and all of these other things. But then I thought, okay, Super Saiyan 5 is reserved for Savage Goku. But then I remembered that his demon form was something that I wanted to have originally incorporated into the original version of Goku Versus Z that I had originally announced. So I'm like, you know what? We'll just go with his demon form, and then I can go back and tell his origin story. And his demon form, when I was looking at how I should design it, because I didn't know back then, but obviously I had to come up with some kind of look, I started looking at old fan art of the evil Gokus from, the mid to late 2000s. And they basically all had the one thing in common, was that the eyes were red or that the eyes were white. So I'm like, okay, we'll just have his eyes go red when he's Super Saiyan Demon, and his eyes will be white when he's in his base form. And I think it'll, in his key color changes. So I think that'll be a subtle enough visual change to say, okay, it's a different form, and he's got this demon power, and he's in a different, he's using a different ability here.
Beating the heck out of freaking Zamasu.
It's kind of getting flattened.
I also thought that it was a nice, like, little tribute to, your literal inspiration of the series, to the Evil Goku saga from Newgrounds.
What are you talking about?
It's the Crazy Jehudis version of Evil Goku. I think it was a nice way to also just cycle all the way back to, what originated this story. So I think the transformation itself is a nice little tribute as well to that version of the so-called original Goku, Evil Goku.
Yeah, because obviously that last episode was lost to time, and then, we were fortunate enough to reach out to him, talk to him, and Crazy Jehudi had that third lost episode, and the Super Saiyan 3 design had it had the black eyes, with the red. I'm like, God, that looks just so fucking awesome. This is just such a throwback to those times. And I actually have a Crazy Jehudi Evil Goku sprite in here. He's actually a unique looking one. I'll try and remember when we get to that scene to call it out, but he's in the background there. So, and I think I had a Crazy Jehudi one in the original Goku Versus 2, if I remember correctly.
I think there might have been one, now that memory serves me. And that's not often.
Is that all you've got, Your Majesty? Kaioken times 20!
Every time I keep seeing the Kaioken combination, it always I'm always feel like I'm watching the OG episodes of Goku versus Vegeta, because I don't know why, but something about the Kaioken technique has always been my top favorites. And especially when I hear the sound effects of the whooshing, I feel like that's when I can feel the power of these characters. It's always so awesome having it be implemented.
100%.
Have it give it. Yeah, give it the actual respect of that technique, since it was literally before or besides the Great Ape, the Kaioken technique was what started the whole transformation trend, I guess.
Yeah, and then obviously, once Super Saiyan came out, we never saw him use it again. There was that filler episode with PyCon, but it was just lost to time. He only needed it. He only had it and used it during, you know, the Saiyan saga and then a little bit in Namek, but I love that technique. That's my favorite technique is the Kaioken, and I like that for evil Goku. It's opposite of
Freaking
Goku because he doesn't learn it early on like Goku does. He learns it later in life.
yeah. The freaking waffle scene from the Goku Hedgehog is so hilarious to me.
But he doesn't
my
have red
gosh.
hair.
Yeah, he doesn't have red hair. Like the redhead Henry. Get it?
Yeah, there's kind of a play on that with him calling evil Goku Red, and then obviously he's calling Goku Black Pinky. But when I was because I had the lines recorded already, and I didn't want to go back and change it when he was talking about his red hair because he was already Super Saiyan 4 at that point. So I'm like, whatever. It's a dumb moment. We'll have the speech bubble, but shit, I forgot where I was going. Oh, with him calling him Red. So I'm like, as I'm watching that, I'm like, it's almost like he's calling evil Goku Red, like he's talking to me in a sense. It's like I was evil Goku. I'm like, that's just kind of weird, but whatever. It is what it is. I needed to have him call him like nicknames and stuff just to kind of be kind of funny.
It fits the Sonic theme. Like, he calls Eggman Baldy McNose hairs every now and again.
Right.
And that Sonic battle sprite is so nostalgic and just so well done.
Is that what the style is? Was it battle?
Yes, Sonic Advance uses a similar style, but I could tell it's battle from like how he's stanced.
Yeah, because I remember the difference between the two. I played Battle when I had it for Game Boy Advance. I love that game, but it'd been so long since I had seen the styles and whatnot. And the guy on DeviantArt who was helping me with the sprite, he created it, but I always kept looking at the sprite and was wondering like, what style is this? Because it looks so familiar. It looked like those GBA, versions, but I couldn't make out what version it was.
I'm actually surprised that the Sonic Battle sprites have come as long as the JUS sprites have. Because, like, that Sonic Battle sprite...
Uh-oh, we lost LordZ.
Of course. It's almost customary.
Right when you're getting to the meat of what you want to say, it cuts out.
Yeah, I might have to change my settings, but...
No, you're good.
Oh, here it comes the Shadow Goku.
Touch grass, gentlemen.
Yep, touch grass. That's all you gotta say.
Touch grass. Fuck that, man. He's touching ass. That's what he's doing.
I just now, the square cube. It's the callback to the origins, the pre-GBC.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so stupid. I should have realized that.
I'm surprised you didn't. You didn't.
Yeah.
You don't remember.
It took me forever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I now remember. I totally forgot about that technique.
That's
yeah,
what
he just
trapped
encases.
Zamasu in. Yeah.
Using the same type of power that he used to make his weapons.
He just chucks Goku the Hedgehog all the way to another universe or something.
Go into the sun. Wow, those Shadow Goku sprites are really detailed. Who sprited those?
I did. It's not a well. Okay, so basically all it is I took the JUS Goku sprite, made it completely black, and then I applied a saber effect to it around the outline. And the saber effects plugin from After Effects, it gives it that, wispy movement, cloud-like kind of a movement. And then what I had so basically I had like a partial sprite sheet of all the poses I needed, and then applied the effect to it in After Effects, then rendered out like 10 seconds of that footage. So it's like an animated sprite sheet essentially. That's why he's got like the, because it has that movement to it.
Oh my gosh, is Barracu the best character in the world? Strongest in the universe, multiverse?
Yeah, I like how
of
he
the
dabs
legend.
out. There was only like 4 or 5 poses of this bear, and I'm like, he needs to obviously leave the scene. He just dabs out.
It's so good.
Yeah, like anime is so dumb because like they have so many moments like that. I'm like, okay, well, obviously this thing plays out like an anime. I need to have those kind of moments in there. And then it's like kind of a fourth wall break too because they both look at the camera. Like, what the fuck did we
Yeah.
just experience?
Yeah. I mean, it's
Like,
true. In the manga, even like Toribot, Toriyama's little avatar, he pops in a few times,
Oh
and
yeah,
he just
like he
kind of breaks the
pauses.
fourth wall.
Yeah, he pauses the story in a sense, like to explain shit.
Yeah, so it's a nice little moment.
actually, I'm pretty sure Stan Lee used to do the same thing in some of the
Oh
comics he worked
yeah.
on.
Yeah, I forgot. He always just cameos. He's like, "Oh hey, there's Stanley. Okay, bye, Stanley."
But like in the comics where he would originally write and do the artwork for, he would be like, if you want context, go back to this issue.
Oh, I remember this. I remember coming to you, Nums, about because this wasn't in any of the scripts with Kome,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember coming to you and being like, "Yo, so like, what if like evil Goku has some kind of vision or dream, or maybe he really is popping in heaven, where he sees now his son or daughter, because we didn't really know at that point, and you know he gets to experience for a very brief moment what his life or what having a child would have been like." Um, and you were just like, "Dude, I fucking love that. Do it."
Yeah. I mean, for one, at this particular moment definitely caught me off guard because at first I was like, what the heck is Zamasu? But then I was thinking, I was like, you know what? Nah, that actually is too on point for his character. He's definitely on in the deep end of his his little road to no return for
Well,
Zamasu.
because I feel like
It definitely gives me some baby vibes because like even baby was like, yeah, I'm gonna take control of Vegeta's body, and then I'm taking his wife, and then I'm taking over his entire planet onto my own planet. It's like, dang, Zamasu is literally writing notes from baby. It's like, yeah, let me copy what he did.
Jesus. No, I really wanted to up the tension here and make it really, really personal. And as I was working on it, I'm like, you know what? If he's reading his mind, you know, not only are we seeing, like similar here on screen, not only are we seeing the differences between the two and some of the parallels, but, you know, as he's reading his mind, he's getting snapshots of things that evil Goku has experienced. So he learns about Echo G, and then he goes deeper into his mind. And then it's almost like we're getting a little homage of everything that we've seen before has like kind of, you know, cemented into the fact that we've come to this moment, and you're seeing like, you know, evil Goku versus Goku 4, you're seeing Majin Buu, you're seeing like everything that has come before as he reads it. Then you see Chi-Chi, and then that kind of gives it that little personal touch, knife in the back. When I'm done with you, I'm going to go find Chi-Chi in heaven, and like I'm just going to wreck her. But like I
Yeah.
really wanted to make it personal, and then I think the fact that then he knocks him out, and then you don't know if like what the hell's going on. Like, is he dead? Is he, you know, is he on death's doorstep? Is he just having a dream? Like, what the fuck is happening? And then you get the reveal of Kome. And then I remember talking with you too, trying to figure out what would be a good name for her, throwing out like different ideas.
Yeah, I think this moment, just in general, was definitely one of the hardest things to really finalize because we definitely wanted it to have actual, you know, importance to Evil Goku's character, but also to the entire story without feeling a bit too forced or too jarring. So I think it definitely worked out in the end, especially just having some moment more like a different side of Evil Goku's character, but also, you know, having Kome to appear. And yeah, her name was definitely kind of hard because we try to think of like something related to Gohan's like pun name. I think it was like
Right.
rice.
Right.
So we were trying so hard to be like, could this work?
Yeah,
And
like we did like
yeah,
noodles and like
yeah,
there were like all these different ones, but I eventually came to the point where I was like, it's two syllables, go Han. So then I tried to think of like what would kind of be like a female variant of that, and eventually I think I was just spitting out words and came with Kome, but yeah, this sprite turned out so good, Lords, that you did for her. Because I don't remember if I tried doing it, but I was like, I need you to do this because I can't do this one, and it turned out so good. And I only just did like a little refining detail. I think it was with her hair, but other than that, like, oh, it just looks so good.
It was also the outfit, I think, because the original outfit I gave her was like a reference to Kid Gohan.
Oh, was it? Oh, I don't remember. Oh yeah, it was. You're right.
oh, that's cool.
And we changed it to just like an adorable little preschool dress.
Exactly.
Gives me some like a kid, like toddler pan vibes.
It's a wholesome
Yeah.
moment.
Yeah.
This is the moment where people knew this was going to get emotional.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like,
The Ultra Instincts. He's using it, guys. Oh my gosh.
I was actually afraid of that because I made, like I said earlier in the video, I made that I made the connection because I had watched like a couple weeks in advance where that kid flipped out and was like, "He's using Ultra Instinct. He's using Ultra Instinct." I'm like, "Oh my god, no! Like, you can dodge attacks and not have Ultra Instinct, dude."
Yeah. Goku
But
dodges
but
a
I will
bullet. Is like, is that Ultra Instinct?
Well, I'm in a sense though. I will take a little bit of a brunt of the force here because it did kind of make it seem like something was coming. It made it seem as though he's getting some kind of new transformation here. It has to be Ultra Instinct. So in a way, it's like I kind of led you guys down a path of just nothingness in the end, ultimately. But then you kind of get an explanation here of like what he was actually doing, channeling his energy into that. Which we've seen so many times in Dragon Ball 2, by the way.
Oh yeah. I try so hard to explain it to people. I know people don't like the explanation. I don't either, but like it is a thing in the series, so it's
Right.
like it was still pretty cool that I mean, especially Evil Goku trained for hundreds of years, you know, something as simple as like, oh yeah, I can channel it, but in base it's like, yeah, that's actually pretty cool.
Yeah,
It's
I
pretty
mean,
simple, pretty
you have
effective.
to assume that they would be learning these new types of things while they're there fighting each other, right? So like an energy
Yeah.
diversion or energy, alteration, consumption or something.
This
big-
shot, oh my gosh.
Oh my God,
Ugh,
yeah.
It was so good. I loved it, man. Now that's Kaioken. That's peak Kaioken right there. Not even blue Kaioken compares. I'm sorry, but that was freaking awesome.
I love to,
A lot of good 100 years can do.
Yeah.
right? Well, and then you get a hint too that he had used it before on Evil Goku at some point during their battles. But
Which I think it's a nice callback to the movies. Is like, hey, you called back Cooler with the Kamehameha going through. You call back to the Lord Slug that the guides at least imply he used Kaioken times 100. So I think it's nice to be like, okay, let me just be direct and upfront. Yes, it is times 100 Kaioken.
Well,
With Super Saiyan 4 no less. So that's pretty awesome.
Well, and that was the thing that always bugged me in the series. I mean, at every point in time, like he goes, times 3, times 10, times 20. So it's like you would think that he would eventually at some point get to like a times 50, times 100. I don't know if they ever explained why he never could multiply it further or higher than times 20, if it was just too much for him or what.
He probably just didn't use it enough, and his body never got used to using Kaioken. I mean, after Super Saiyan, he basically ditched it, and he's like, King Kai, fuck you.
I think the universe works differently where he comes from. He can recover and become stronger faster than we can.
Oh, is this the speech moment? Yeah. That was also a very nice moment to have Evo Goku just be honest with Goku Prime.
Yeah.
This
Oh, go ahead, Lords.
Yeah.
this moment during the premiere gave
We lost him.
Are you kidding?
This moment gave me. Go ahead, man.
Yeah.
This moment gave me so many emotions because after seeing Goku Black's face and hearing this, I'm like, we're getting to the corrupted part, aren't we?
Yeah. Because obviously God, you did such a good job on that sprite, man. And it's funny too because I gave you I tried to give you some references, but I'm like, look, you're gonna basically have to make this thing from scratch, and I kind of know what it looks like. It's kind of like an in-between state of Super Saiyan 4 and Super Saiyan 5. He should look like he's in a great ape kind of form. He's gonna be beefier, taller, and then originally you did that one version where he was a lot bigger. And there was just something about that sprite, it just didn't look right. And I'm like, no, it needs to look more JUS. And then you came up with that other version that we see. And obviously, I think he still had the pink fur, which I had to change. But, oh my god, it just turned out so fucking good.
Oh, Goku betrayed by his friends.
Goku portrayed in the time chamber.
Yep. Yeah, it was always it was definitely that idea of a corrupted Super Saiyan 4. I think I came up with the name. It was pretty much just based off the corrupted fused Zamasu, but give it to the Super Saiyan 4 form.
Yeah.
And I thought it just worked, honestly, 'cause especially given Goku Black's character in the story. I thought it'd be a nice like a throwback in a way to be like, hey, let's go back to GT. What if, this happened to the form?
Right.
I remember I also drew a halo to go behind him just in case, but
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, I think it looks fine as it is.
Yeah, I don't think the halo was necessary because Zamasu wasn't dead, at least the spirit or mind of him, when they switched bodies, and then obviously Goku wasn't dead either. We just missed him. That was the evil Goku Crazy Jehudi variant. He was in the background there.
Timestamp it.
This version, mutated or corrupted Super Saiyan 4, it just looks so fucking badass, man. You did a good job on this sprite.
And I remembered I wanted to do the left and right sprites like I did for Savage Goku, but I don't think I know I didn't end up doing that because you said something was going to happen to the time ring and I didn't have to worry.
Yeah, and that was the shot we just saw it. He obviously still had the time ring at that point, and I wanted to make it seem like his his hands got so big that the ring just split. So it's almost kind of symbolic in the sense that, okay, now he's no longer like that Kai. He's no longer necessarily Goku. He's just kind of like this beast.
Beast Goku? What?
This was a good, fun moment, too, between these two, because they've known each other for so long. You're so optimistic. Yeah, well, you're so pessimistic. And then you see that kind of hint, too, of evil Goku influencing Goku in a sense, because he's kind of being real, and Goku's never real in the fucking anime, in the sense that he would acknowledge something yeah, this opponent's really strong and we're going to get fucking destroyed. It's more oh my god, he's so powerful and I can't wait to go and fight him. It's gonna be an amazing fight.
Yeah.
I actually think the only time we've seen something close to that was the Majin Buu saga where Goku's freaking out on the lookout.
When he was teaching Goten and Trunks the fusion?
Yeah, a little bit before then.
I kind of remember that.
And even then, it was just oh yeah, we could just get them to fuse. We have nothing to worry about.
Because the fusion was kind of an ass pull, coming out of nowhere.
Speaking of fusion.
Oh my god, I'm so glad we got rid of that. It just would have been so much. It sucks because I did want to have it in there, but with the way the story was unfolding, it just would have been too much, and ultimately it would have failed anyway. But Yeah, man, I still have the sprites done. Like, they're about 50%. Ultimately, the whole sheet doesn't matter. I had about 50% of different sheets done. But what he looked like and what type of fusion it was, I'm going to save that for a later video.
Yeah. I mean, I even in the live stream, I've seen a few comments like, "Oh, they're gonna fuse," and even though I know we could have done it for the sake of the fan service, but
There is too much.
because the entire story was literally focusing on Evil Goku's growth, it just didn't seem fitting enough to have him fuse. Because sure, you may say like, he finally, can let go of his pride to fuse or something like that, but it just felt more impactful just seeing them fight together as opposed to having the fuse.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. Because we've never seen that before, right? And it would just be so much easier to say, oh, they fuse and they become so strong they can beat him. And it's like, and then it doesn't work. It's like, well, you see that 9 times out of 10 in the manga or in the anime or the movies. That's exactly what happens. They fuse and ultimately it doesn't work, or it fails, or they lose it for whatever reason. So it's like, I'm not going to do that here. I don't really care for fusions that much anyway. It would have been nice to see it, but you're absolutely right, Nums. I think it's more meaningful the fact that they stay separated, but they're working together.
Yeah. It's also, I feel like, given that I wasn't aware at the time when Goku Black does fight MUI or even Ultra Ego Goku, I feel like some of those nice fan service moments kind of helps, I think balance that out where we see those other like what ifs Goku's fights Goku Black and not include the fusion. Hey, there was a Mega Goku too. Yeah.
Yeah, this scene here, that good luck power scaling that. That's why I put him up so high. it still wasn't even high enough, but the whole idea with this, with all these clones, I'm glad I reincorporated this and you told me to do it, Nums, because we were getting to the point where I needed to have some kind of entrance for Savage Goku, and it was getting to the point where Savage Goku was coming in. And originally I was going to have these guys in an earlier version of the script, because Goku Black had those clones in the anime. It might be cool to see an opposite effect of that in Goku Versus Z, right? But then I removed it because I thought, well, there's all these other fucking things that are happening. Demon form, Kaioken times 100, all of these things. So I removed it. But then when I talked to you about it, I'm like, Savage Goku's coming in. I want to do it, but it can't be so long. You're like, yeah, just put it in there short. And then Savage Goku comes in and he just decimates them all. And I can't think of any other way that this scene would have played out with him coming in. I think it was the perfect way to introduce him or reintroduce him into this.
Yeah. Plus, I think it was a nice callback to the manga and anime of Super, where we see the clones of Goku Black or the clones of Merge Zamasu popping in. So having a clone of the corrupted Goku Black just makes it more like, hey, that is Goku Black. It's just an alternate version of him.
Yeah.
So I think that's pretty cool.
And I remember too in the I think it was in the live stream, LordZ. I remember too, as we were approaching this scene, I saw a comment from you pop up and you were like, oh my God, this is it or something. And I don't remember what it was you said. I'm like, oh, he's so amped over there. He is so fucking amped.
I almost stood up out of my chair, but I came from work, so I fell back down.
Dude, so Savage Goku coming back, like, I knew I wanted to have a different design with him, but it couldn't have been changed too much. So obviously I worked on the base sprites for it. And I know I showed numbers. I showed you all of his different base sprite forms, right, LordZ?
Yeah, you had me pick 3 of my favorites and ask which one I preferred. I still love that Shao Kahn looking one that you showed me.
Same thing with Num. So basically what I was doing, because you guys, I don't think you guys knew that you didn't know that the other one was helping me. So I did it with you, LordZ, and then I didn't say anything, and then I did it with numbers. And I wanted to see between the two of you and then myself, out of the 3 designs for Savage Goku, which one looked the best. And ultimately, this was the one that we all 3 agreed on without even the 3 of us communicating together. Because this was the original redesign, was this one with the 1 shoulder pad and the strap, But then I went and did like 50 other designs, and I'm like, okay, there's too many here. There's a lot of good ones. Let me get LordZ's opinion. I'll get Number's opinion. And I believe in every version, you guys all chose the same one. And I'm like, you know what? That's the one. That was the original one I redesigned anyway. And then I gave it to you, LordZ, and I'm like, I need a Sprite poses of all these, like, you know, kicks and punches and whatnot. Good luck.
And I immediately said, so, I finally have a worthy challenge.
Yeah.
The same form as me.
And then this motherfucker.
Super Saiyan 5, yep.
I needed to. I didn't want the term Super Saiyan 5 to be said, but it needed to be shown that he was a Super Saiyan 5 without saying it. So I thought, because originally he was going to be the only Super Saiyan 5 there, but then I thought, okay, well, I don't want to tell the audience that this is Super Saiyan 5 because obviously he looks different, but that's just because of the universe that he's from. I want to show them he's a Super Saiyan 5 without telling him. So I think adding in AF Goku in there, and then you realize he's Super Saiyan 5 because he's got that white fur, and then him saying he's the same level as me, but he's just leagues above where I'm at. I think it gives you enough information to know that this Savage Goku, if you don't know who he is, he's a badass motherfucker.
Yeah.
One punch made him bleed. If you don't think Savage Goku is top tier, get out of my house. In this scene...
This scene, gosh dang, that was so... He had no response, no reaction. He's just like, let me just grab this pop. He's
Yeah,
like
get
a
some
Lego
juice
piece.
real quick.
He treated him like a Lego piece.
That was the whole point, like, because he has these... He's different, right? Because, you know, it's almost like for him, it's like a chore that needs to be done. He's not enjoying it. So I wanted to show the stoicism and apathetic, no emotion, you know. He's just picking them apart, exactly like you said, like a Lego piece.
Kind of like Kratos from God of War when he has to kill a god. He's just like, all right.
I don't know. I keep seeing comments so much that parallel with Savage Goku being influenced by God of War or Kratos, and then same with Evil Goku having the. I've never played the game. I don't know anything about it. So any like parallels that you see between those characters and Kratos, if that's his name, is just pure coincidence.
I think he works better as a reference to Shao Kahn, not just by how he's dressed, but like
Yeah,
the brutality of it all.
I really, really like that Shao Kahn version of him, and that's exactly where I got the inspiration from too. But
he just tells Goku like, you weak, pathetic fool, or something like that. Just have one of his voice lines.
I would not be surprised if Savage Goku just said, "You suck."
So there was actually an extra part of dialogue there with Savage Goku. So after he says, what is it that he says? He says, did you really think that you were the strongest warrior here? You are beaten. And after he says you are beaten, he was going to say, now comes my favorite part. And he was going to put his hand out and you have like a little energy orb appear. I thought, nah, I'm going to take that part out and just kind of leave everybody wanting a little bit more. And we already have
And I'd say that
fucking
worked.
Echo G Goku coming in too, so it's like I gotta start playing off with that now.
Yeah, this moment, it's so freaking good. Just the silhouette, like the pure essence of just Goku as like a manifestation of nothing but raw energy, and then just slapping away, just exorcism Goku Black away. He's like, all right, be gone.
We owe Stride
By the power-
gratitude for that whole reference.
By the power of Goku, I compel you to cease to exist.
Oh, I am so easy to amuse.
Yeah, him just bopping away a freaking universe is like, yeah, is this enough visual for you guys to show he's not messing around? Is like, I hope so.
So
I think he's kind of strong.
yeah, I kind of messed up here because there were a lot of different things I was planning on doing with him, and actually, I don't remember if it was you, Nums, or somebody else asked me, like, somebody said something, I don't remember when it was like a couple days ago, saying like, well, what if Echo G possessed evil Goku, and that was actually like, because there were so many fucking different outlines, what was going to happen? It wasn't gonna take the form of or of a Goku. It was going to be like this shapeless, energetic form, which then goes into evil Goku, and then evil Goku is like struggling to control it, but at the same time, he's like obliterating Gokus, he's obliterating universes, and then ultimately it had to be Goku somehow to kill him. So he's like struggling to remain still, like, you have to be the one to do it, and then somehow Goku would have killed him, but I'm like, it just wouldn't have made sense. It made so much better sense for Echo G to be like this, its own standalone, enemy. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think it absolutely makes sense for Echo G to be the epitome of everything that we've seen, because he's been in every animation essentially, kind of like this backdrop. He's been talked about, it's been mentioned, we've seen kind of hints of it. But then to see it kind of being revealed as him being the final antagonist in the series, I think was like the icing on the cake for the whole series.
Yeah.
And then the Kamehameha beam clash.
And the way Savage Goku's Kamehameha looks, so good.
It needed to be unique.
And I remember so many people getting hyped up only for, well, we'll get to that later.
Yeah, but this whole shot, though, obviously is... I knew I wanted to have that in there because it was a callback to the original. Just showing the desperate struggle of every single Goku not being able to take it out. And it's reversed, too, because they're essentially all firing up at the thing, whereas before Savage Goku was on the ground, and they were all firing down at him.
I've got it. Let's try a spirit bomb. If we can get everyone here to lend energy.
And I just noticed this, but after Echo G pushes them all away, and you could still see a few particles of the Kamehameha left behind as they're just dispersed.
Yeah.
That was such a nice little detail that I wish I saw when I was watching it the third time.
Yeah, the only thing, like, it did look good, don't get me wrong, but the only thing it reminds me of is, like, confetti, because they're all different colored little particles, but it made sense because all these energy beams were different colors, right?
Yeah.
Where's confetti Goku when you need him?
Yeah, he's popping out those little party streamers.
Yeah,
He's at
Pinata
his son's
Goku.
birthday.
Yeah.
Where was Freddy Fazbear Goku?
Oh gosh.
He's in the background.
But I will say this. I also like the detail of when the wind is blowing and you see the shading change to simulate the clothes blowing in the wind.
Yeah, so that was asshole. That was like it was such a because I had to take every base pose sprite from the main, 5 or however many, and then throw them all in one sheet, and then have, not just their front on angle, but their side angles, their back angles, and then like the semi side angles, and then create, the effect of making it seem like the wind is blowing. What a pain in the ass that was.
It looked like a pain in the ass with how much detail was in it.
And I actually did, if you'll notice it, but there are some Goku where, I just didn't create the animated GIF for it. And obviously I could have animated, the hair and all that stuff on its own in After Effects to make it look even better, but there was just so much time in all these different things. I'm like, an animated GIF, just, it's done, it gets the point across. But I think it was important here, too, to show kind of like a flashback of him putting the pieces together, that he's the only one that could stop him. And I think that's important, too, that it's not because he's the strongest. They're all nothing compared to Echo G. but it's because there's something unique about his energy, which Echo G was obviously hunting for this entire time. So the fact that he's the
And
one who realizes that and then has to go through with, this self-sacrifice here, I think it made sense to do it that way.
yeah, because what better way to end it than how it started?
Right, right. Him going through the portal.
And our defeats.
And
Actually, that's inaccurate. It should have taken 5 seconds to generate the spare bomb.
actually, ratio. But I like that little 3D scene of panning around Evil Goku's face being a reverse of how it was in the introduction.
Right.
Right,
That's
yeah.
very few movies do that, but it's almost like when you see that in movies, when you see the camera pan from one side of a character to the other, that is basically in a sense it's giving you this symbolic meaning of this character has now changed. And then when you see it at the end from the beginning where it goes from the opposite direction, it means that they've now in a sense come full circle, or they've changed back, or something about them has changed and they've come to a realization. And I thought it was very important to have that in there. And doing that scene with sprites, oh my god, to make it look good is very, very difficult.
I would imagine.
Goku Prime 1 billion.
Like even right now, I'm still like giddy watching this scene because of how colorful it is.
Yeah. Yeah, the ending. The ending was definitely like a very important like thing we had to keep going back and forth on because we wanted all the events to genuinely matter, to have a proper fitting conclusion to just pretty much everyone's character arc. And so we didn't want to feel like like Goku Black said it was like an ass pull or something, or just it didn't feel unsatisfactory. So we definitely had to keep going back and forth until we felt like we hit like every single thing, just end the story of Goku Prime, Evil Goku,
Yeah.
the other Gokus, and especially, with the Echo G being, the starting cause of, everything in general. It was
All the
definitely
loose
something,
threads. Yeah.
yeah.
All the loose threads are tied up. And I remember talking to you about Evil Goku's death scene too. Like, my biggest issue I was running into was, should he just go out in a blaze of glory and that's it? Because it would make sense that way. Or should it be that he survived the explosion, but he's just slowly deteriorating and he survives it just long enough to say goodbye to Goku? And I remember talking with you about that, like, how should it go? And actually, you never even, I don't think you ever responded. I think you kind of just let me, and I feel like you did this a lot. I don't know if it was on purpose or not. I would ask you sometimes a question, and I felt like what you were doing was you just remained silent because you were trying to allow me to figure out how it should go on my own. I don't know if that's true or not, Nums. But I came to the realization, I'm like, no, it needs to be, he needs to survive the explosion, and it needs to be just long enough. He's already dying. There's nothing that can be done to stop it. And it needs to be just long enough for them to say their farewell to each other.
And I think that's kind of the beauty of Goku's character because even through death, with a few exceptional moments, but every time he does embraces it, he don't get a sense of somber. Well, I mean, you do, but he has a sense of acceptance towards it. Like when he had to sacrifice with Cell, or when he barely defeated Kid Buu, when he survived his fight with Omega. There's, or even heck, with what was it with Jiren, surviving the spare bomb and then coming back at the very end. There's always a way for Goku to still have like a final say, despite all the things he had to go through. So I think it was definitely a nice way for, because I definitely don't want to insert my own like, oh well, I think it should be done like this. I definitely wanted at the end of the day to have, Red specifically have his character be written and ended as it has to be, but just done naturally.
Thanks, Goku.
Yeah. And then obviously here, and this was something I wish we saw in Into the Spider-Verse was, obviously they go back, Andrew Garfield, Tobey Maguire. It just would have been nice, like a post-credit scene or something, to see like where they're at in their universe. And I knew I always wanted to do that here. So it was always planned, even when with Goku versus Evil Goku 4, that because they're going to be together for 100 years fighting. At some point, that would mean that Goku Prime is going to go back into the events of post GT and meet Goku Jr. So I'm glad actually that I went in and did, like those shots of them all returning to their universe.
It's a very nice touch to send off everyone and leave as little unanswered questions as possible. But the unanswered questions that are left, you leave them up for interpretation, so anyone could come up with their own story at the end of it.
You're absolutely right. That, in a way, it wasn't really intentional, but maybe I knew what I was doing, maybe not. Honestly, I don't know, but things like with Piccolo saying, well, what are we going to use the last wish for? I have some ideas, so then it gets you thinking, are they going to wish back Evil Goku? But that's not possible because he died twice. What are they going to use that last wish for? Other little things like that, like you said. It leaves it open to interpretation.
And also, the little note.
Yeah,
I think it's also a nice little callback to how, even old End of Z or GT, we do have some few flashbacks with not Goku specifically, but just the other characters doing their thing.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, I forgot. Even Goku, when he was walking at the end of GT, he gets flashbacks of his life. So, nice moment for every other Goku.
And I'm pretty sure at this point, some people were just too busy going ham in the comments to notice what was happening. So some people probably didn't even see the credits.
Right, all of the events that had transpired from every anime.
They were too excited. Yeah, they were too excited from all the waffles.
Oh my god, this Sprite. Because I know I had...
This caught me off guard.
I had seen that Sprite before of a fat Sonic, and I'm like, well, he said he wanted waffles. Everyone's getting what they wanted. It would be a fun little thing to do. And then I remembered the fat Sprite, and I saw it. I'm like, this is either going to be too much or it's, whatever. But I edited the Sprite, and I'm like, it's fine. We understand he ate this entire massive stack of waffles, and he's fat.
Goku does eat a lot, so, kind of fitting.
It's like a parallel to Sonic's chili dogs.
Yeah.
And this one, I caught this right away, and I was like, you motherfucker. These callbacks were so good.
Yeah, I went back and rewatched that scene many times. I'm like, okay, that dude's wearing a Satan hat. That lady's wearing a pink hat. I have to have those types of sprites in there. He's walking in this direction, and then those little tournament flags are in the background and whatnot. Yeah, it's bittersweet, and I think showing all these, past events from the other animations in the credits was a nice send-off too. And then obviously you have that final shot with all of the major and supporting characters, parting farewell, thanks for the memories. But you guys did an awesome job helping me. I could not have done this entire animation without the two of you guys. You were my right-hand guys. For ideas and sprites and everything. So thank you guys so much for helping me complete this. It really, really means a lot.
It's really awesome just being able to see it. And on a fitting note, just starting watching it since the very beginning, all the way to the very end, and being able to help out. Hey, there's me. Anyways,
Yeah, and
just
there's
able
Lord's,
to, yeah, just being able to see, just the entire history, able to, watch it all the way through from the very beginning to the end. It was always awesome to be part of the process and being able to, move on but still able to work on my own things, able to
Yeah.
inspire other people to do the same thing as well.
Yeah, actually, I forgot to ask you guys this at the beginning. If you guys have anything you want to plug, like what future projects you guys might have planned, or like if you have a YouTube channel that you want to plug, or like commissions that you're doing, anything like that.
Well, I am doing my Sprite commissions. You could message me on Twitter. You can message me on Discord. It's all the same name, so don't worry. I do live streams on YouTube now. I'm going to be doing one Mondays. And on top of that, the main project that I'm working on, I'm currently working on the trailer for.
Nice. How about you, Nums?
I just do nothing but stupid, nonsensical, meme power scaling videos. But nah, you can just check my YouTube channel, also name numbers. Currently I'm doing power scaling for Dragon Ball movie characters, but hopefully in the future I'll be able to branch out. I'm planning to do, reviews and maybe go back to doing Let's Plays, a bit more professionally, but otherwise I'm just glad I get to be part of this project, and that's honestly the plug-in all I need.
Yeah, man. I'll link your guys's YouTube and Twitter and whatnot. I'll have that in the description of the video too. So if you guys out there want to check out their work, go to the description, give them a like and a follow. They definitely deserve it.
As does Red.
Hey, there's Red.
Yeah,
Right in the middle.
that's me, surrounded with all.
Is
my
that a
characters.
beard, or is that like?
It's a
are you
beard.
wearing like a? Okay.
Oh, yeah, no, it's a yeah. Fuck. All right,
I
guys,
thought you were
that's
wearing
it.
like a scarf.
Yeah. That's it for this video. Thank you for checking it out, and yeah, we'll see you guys next time. Adios.
Later.
See ya.